Oh, are you okay?
Ow.
Hey, stay still, stay still. Don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move.
Man, as a dad, that is like one of the worst feelings in the world, to know that you are the reason that your child is in pain. Yeah, so I hooked my son's hand. As a father of 4, there's been multiple times where my kids have gotten hurt and been in pain. And you know that feeling, I mean, they're on the ground crying, or they're running to mommy, or whatever is going on, and you just really feel helpless. Like if you could take the pain away from them, you would. If you can inherit the pain and just say, let it be no longer on you, but let it be on me. I mean, for any good parent out there, you know, you would definitely do that. But to be the source of their pain, now that one's just tough. I mean, that's something that you really have to think about. So my goal for this video is 2-part. One, I'm gonna roll the full video, but after that, I wanna talk about 2 things. Number 1, I wanna tell you the story on how it went down. And number 2, I wanna give you some tips, especially some safety tips on what to do if this happens to you or one of your kids or one of your friends. You might say it's pretty obvious, you know, just watch where you're casting, but hopefully I can shed just a little bit of insight, or maybe even share something with you that maybe you didn't think about, or maybe it's an item to bring on your kayak to kind of help with this entire situation. I'm going to break out my safety kit and just do a quick run through with you as well at the end of this video. But man, let's go ahead and roll the full video.
Let's just see. Oh, are you okay?
Ow.
Hey, stay still, stay still.
Ow.
Don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move.
Ow.
Don't move,
Ow.
don't move,
Ow.
don't
Ow,
move,
Ma.
don't move, don't move, don't move. Look at me, look at me. It's okay, it's okay.
Ow.
Don't move. Look that way, look that way. It's okay, you're okay.
Ow.
You're okay, you're okay. Landon, you're okay. You're okay, you're okay. Don't move. With your other hand, open the bail. With your other hand, open the bail. Be strong. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. Okay, let me see your hands. Okay. It's not bleeding, right? Good. Oh, thank the Lord. That could have gotten real bad. I'm sorry, son. So in all the time that I've been kayak fishing with my kids, that has never happened. I've never hooked my kid. I've never hooked anybody that I was fishing with, even like on a back cast, wading, none of those things. I've always been conscious of like, man, where's my lure? Where's the hook? Where's it going? Because number one, I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to hurt myself, but I also don't like breaking my equipment, like my rod tips, my fishing poles, any of those things, and any sort of miscast, all that type of stuff takes away from fishing. So I've always been pretty conscious of like, especially kayak fishermen, you know, we have all these rods behind us. So if you have your rods standing straight up, like in your crate, you got to really be careful on your back cast. So me personally, I like to have a lot of my rods kind of angled back this way, not just straight up, because the way I cast and the way I skip and different things, I kind of need that space, and I don't like my rods straight up. So as kayak fishermen, we're always kind of trained to be looking at what's around us because all of our gear is already pretty tight. But when I fish with my kids, number one, I try and scale some of that equipment back so I don't have so much to be concerned about. And number two, I really try to be conscious of letting them be the one to cast first. So a little backstory to the video. When we got on the water, one of the first things I said to my son, my middle son, Landon, of course, I have 3 boys, Rylan the oldest, which some of you guys know who have been around Yak Tribe or to any of our events or watched this channel for any amount of time. Rylan, I fished with him a lot. My middle child who just got hooked in the hand, that's Landon, and he started to come fishing with me. And so we're starting to kind of learn each other and how we fish and what to look out for. And my youngest son, Owen, he's gonna start coming out soon. My youngest daughter, Aspen May, she just turned 4 years old. I asked her, do you wanna come out on the kayak with Dad? And she said no. So hopefully maybe one day that will change. But the first thing I said to him on the water was, hey bud, you fish the left, I'll fish the right. How about I fish this side, you fish that side?
And so the idea was we're not gonna both be on one side of the kayak fishing, just on the right side. And he was comfortable kind of casting this way anyway. And I would wait for Landon. He'd get ready and he'd cast and he'd be fishing, and then I'd go ahead and cast because I was working a top water and also a swim bait. So whether I was skipping or whether I was bombing a top water and working it, I was on the right and he was on the left. When I hooked his hand, it was because I was kind of out of a groove. So we had just got done honestly catching a ton of trout. I mean, they weren't huge, they were small trout, medium-sized trout, but we were just having a good time. He's catching, I'm casting and catching while he's pulling in a fish. I mean, it was just, it was kind of a nice day of catching just average sized trout, honestly more on the smaller end of average trout in Tampa Bay, Florida. And we were just in a groove. And so I'd see him cast and then I'd take my shot, and then he'd cast and he'd take his shot. And I kind of felt like we were in kind of a good groove. Landon started to have a few different issues. We were changing lures. We were kind of untying his lure. He had a few missed strikes. So, you know, when the line goes around the hooks and you kind of got to undo the leader from the hooks, and just little things like that where we kind of started to fall out of our groove just a little bit. And it was at that moment that I should have been like, okay, I know we're comfortable, but let me reassess on the back of this kayak and kind of keep remembering, as the one in charge, as the dad, as kind of the leader of the boat for today, I've got to make sure that we're still safe. And so we've fallen out of our groove a little bit. We're kind of casting just like whenever, sometimes almost at the same time, but he'll cast this way and I'll slice this way. I have to be more, when I'm fishing with my kids, just alert and aware that when things start to change, I need to be more aware, even maybe hyper aware for safety issues, so that nobody gets hurt. And by the way, when I'm fishing with my kids, it's a different style fishing. I'm not just out there trying to be in total control and just catch all the fish for myself and make a great video. And really the goal is to make sure they have a good time. And if that's tying on some live bait so they can have a little bit of fun and not just be so pressured of having to catch fish on artificial, or if they're like, hey dad, can we go check out that spot? Even if I know, like, man, I really want to fish that point, I'll kind of do what they want to do, because the whole idea of fishing with my kids is, one, to have that quality time, but also to let them explore and let them develop their senses and kind of let the adventure be theirs. Honestly, there came a point in the day where we were just having a good time, and that's okay. Right now, in hindsight, we're kind of micro analyzing this situation so it doesn't happen again, or so it doesn't happen to you. But, you know, what I wish I would have done is still had that awareness to say, okay, hold on a second, Dad. Hold on a second, Heath. Let's let Landon get back in his groove. So here's what really happened. Landon was fighting a fish when I was over here fishing on this side of the kayak. And what I didn't realize was he kind of had a little bit of a lure issue, and he was working on that himself. I didn't even notice it. It was kind of blocked from the front of his seat. I couldn't really see what he was doing in the front, but he had his rod tip down and he was kind of messing around with something, and I kind of let him have that. I knew if he wanted help, he would ask for it, like he was doing a little bit earlier in the day. I wanted to give him some of that responsibility of figuring out how to untangle stuff, and, you know, just learning how to do it with my assistance if he needs it. And so while he was messing around with that, I didn't notice that he had turned his rod tip from being in front of him this way to being kind of on the side. And when I turned around to cast, I pulled that line. I basically hooked the line. It was pretty crazy. Now, luckily, it did not really pierce his skin. Now, I've had full hooks go all the way in my pinky and like want to pop out the other side, and my boy Scott Kennedy had to pull that out. We'll talk about that later. But it wasn't that bad. In fact, it was more just scary than anything. And thank the Lord for his protection. I could have really yanked that thing, but when I felt that resistance, I kind of let loose a little bit. And thankfully, Landon didn't really grip down on it was the perfect scenario where if it was gonna happen, it was gonna happen in the least real harmful and hurtful way possible. It was scary and it hurt, and adrenaline's up, but it didn't really harm. And so you can see in the video that I didn't even have to pull the hooks or the barbs out of his hand, which that's just a miracle. So let's talk about some tips. I have a few tips today. They're pretty basic, but let's go through them anyway. So number one is this: if you're fishing tandem on a kayak or with somebody, or even just waiting, you're fishing really close, come up with a plan. And you don't have to be bossy. It doesn't have to come across in a selfish way. You know, you can say, hey man, well, which side do you want to fish? Do you want to fish the left side? Do you want to fish the right side? I've been kayak fishing with friends before, and they'll say, hey man, how about this? How about in the beginning, I'll take the edge of the mangroves, fish in the right side, and then later on we switch. You can get the edge and I'll get this side. Having a plan is helpful, and we did have that plan. You know, in the beginning, like I said earlier, I said, Landon, you fish that side, I'll fish this side. And then sometimes we'd switch. Kind of having a plan, that's like the most simple, easiest step of all, especially if you're tandem, if you're with your wife, your kid, and you're behind them. The person in the back is the one who's gonna be, or should be, the most aware. The person in the front, it's not their responsibility to always be looking behind them. They should kind of know the plan, know what's going on, know, your boat rules or whatever. And this works for a skiff as well. And then the person on the back poling or controlling the boat, controlling the motor or controlling the rudder or whatever the case is, controlling whatever, you're in charge for the most part. If you're in the back, you're in charge. Number 2, you, the person in the back, the person in charge, double check when you cast. So if you're gonna go this way and cast this way, then you should be clear if you're in the back because no one's behind you. But you should make sure that they're not casting and about to cast and hook you. So that's one thing that you can check on is make sure where you're casting. And really quickly, moving on to the next tip, make sure that you tell the person in front of you to check before they cast. So if you're tandem fishing with somebody, they're gonna be in front of you for the most part. They also need to check, even if it's a quick side eye, even if it's a quick glance, just say, hey man, before you cast, just check to make sure you're in the clear. Or hey son, before you cast, just check to make sure you're in the clear. But remember, these things kind of just naturally happen and you find your natural groove and synergy over time, and all these little rules that you have to think about become second nature. But at some point, you kind of have to recircle back to that in the beginning of the day. If you notice, all right, we're having more problems with the rod, just, hey man, watch your cast. Hey son, watch your cast. All right, Heath, all right, dad, watch my cast, and just being aware of where you're casting will go a long way to avoid these types of things. Now, this isn't a rule, but maybe just a little bit of courtesy. If you're gonna be working on something for a moment, you can say, hey man, I'm just working on my rod. Or don't worry about me back here, I'm just resting. But if you're gonna do something that's kind of out of the groove, just announce that. Just say, hey son, I'm gonna take a little rest back here. Don't worry about my rod. What it comes down to at the end of the day is communication. And just a last tip for you guys is make sure you have the proper safety equipment on board your vessel to deal with injuries, to deal with hooks and hands. Check out this video real quick when I had the right tools, and thank goodness that I had the right tools.
How bad is it, bro?
I have to cut. I can either
cut this off first.
All right.
Woo! That's the first part.
All right. Hold your hand so when I pull, you don't get any kind of. And you gotta take that eye and push it down.
That's an old video from when I used to kayak fish in Louisiana a lot, but thank goodness I had the right equipment. Now I don't have it with me right now, I believe it's in my truck, but those snips I was using, like those jaws, those are a great tool to have on board. Those will cut through all types of things, especially if you're running any sort of like thick gauge wires on your kayak for rudders or pulling up motors or anything like that. I mean, that thing can cut all types of stuff, but even something just like this is pretty simple, but these are very, very strong. I didn't skimp on these. These ones I want to say were like 15 bucks or something like that, rather than like the $4 one, because this right here, these ones specifically, this is that Milwaukee one, but there's a ton, just get you a high quality one. They can cut the split rings, they can cut the hardware that comes on your lures, they can cut hooks, and so make sure that you have a good pair of snips on your kayak. Now I know this isn't necessarily a piece of safety equipment, but you should have this on your boat already. This is fluorocarbon, this is leader, what we use in Tampa Bay, Florida. We tie it to our braid, to our main line, and then we use leader to continue to fish and tie our lures onto the leader. Now the reason why you want something like this on your kayak is because you can actually use this to do an old trick that Scott Kennedy did on me. And so what he did was he tied this line around the hook, and then he put some like tension on it, and he pressed down on the hook so that when he pulled, it would come out from the cavity that it created when the hook went into my finger, because you don't want to just yank it. If you just yank the hook, I mean, you're liable to do more damage to your finger. Anyway, don't take my word for it. Just make sure you have this on board in case you want to do that trick. And number 3, make sure that you have some sort of first aid, just stuff on your kayak. I do keep this one on my kayak these days. This is the one from Yak Attack, not sponsored, don't have any special codes for you guys, but this is what I keep on my kayak. This goes in my short stack, just to make sure I know that there is enough safety equipment in here to get me by. I mean, it pretty much has, it's got scissors, and it's got gauze, and it's got alcohol wipes, and this and that and the other. It's got your basics in there. But this is the one that I've had on my kayak that I made myself for the last 8 years maybe. And I do need to update it to make sure everything's good. But let me just show you what's inside here for now. So the first thing I have is how to repair and relink my Bixby remote, because if you have a Bixby and you have multiple batteries, you already know, what I'm talking about. But 2, I have this bag right here. This little baggie looks like trash, but it's actually gold. It's got Band-Aids, but most importantly, Ride in there. That little orange tube in there, that's super glue. Of course, that stuff's a lifesaver. If you got to give yourself some quick stitches, just go ahead and pour that super glue, clean it, pour that super glue in there. I've avoided a ton of stitches and just outside of fishing and things over the years, just using super glue. But every time I do have to crack open that super glue, I put a brand new tube back inside because I don't want any issues if I need that super glue again. I've got some spare sunglasses in my safety kit because you guys know what it's like, and these are kind of not the best, but they're something. You guys know what it's like to leave your sunglasses back at home or in the truck, and that's no good. Just a few extra little tools that I have in here, some little split ring pliers there. This is to work on Hobie drives, right? You guys all know about that, to replace the rods in your fins if anything goes wrong. Of course, we got some registration in here. We got replacement chains for the Hobie drive. I've needed these before, so now I just keep them in my kayak. Funny enough, extra pair of snips, because you never know if you need them. We got a screwdriver. We got little pieces to work on the Bixby if we need to. We have some Dramamine. That's not for me, that's for my friends, because I've gone out with people who do need that, and no shame, if you need it, I got it. I'm kind of like a Boy Scout in that way. Just a few other pieces to work on my Bixby, a carabiner, a lighter. You gotta have a light. You have to have this in your, oh goodness, okay, there we go. You gotta have a lighter in your safety kit for all types of survival situations. You guys know about that. One of my most important things in my bin has to be waterproof adhesive tape. This can stop all types of things, from cuts or just having to makeshift a splint or something like that, broken finger, anything. You might need this type of tape. So I keep 2 rolls in my kayak at all times. I've got a few other little Bixby parts, some motor parts right here. From experience, I have extra little butt connectors and stuff for my batteries, because you guys know fishing in saltwater sometimes destroys your stuff, and having that, you need that. I do have a little battery for my Bixby remote if it ever goes out for some reason. It hasn't on me before. And then the last piece of safety equipment that I have in my kayak is this gator guard right here. Again, everything that I show you, there's no codes, there's no nothing for that type of stuff. I'll put a link in the description below for Amazon. This stuff right here has saved my butt. I have multiple videos on this. I'm not gonna get too deep into this right now, but the reason why I keep this in my kayak is because this will repair your kayak like permanently, not just temporarily. This will permanently repair your kayak if you have a crack in the bottom of your kayak, or really anywhere in your kayak, and you don't need any special gear or any special tools. You literally peel this patch off, put it on, put it in the sun, and the UV rays cure this patch, and it becomes extremely hard. You can sand it, you can paint it. I keep it on the bottom of my kayaks as like a guard, so my kayak doesn't get scratched up. But this stuff, I have saved people's kayaks 2 times with having this stuff in my kayak. So you wanna make sure you've got this in your safety box. So that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the story time and just some of the tips. If it helped you out, please let me know. If there's anything that should be added to my safety list or equipment, or there are some things I might not have even shown you that I keep in my kayak, like baby wipes and rain gear, etc., that stays in the front of my hatch. But this box comes with me no matter what. Even if I'm going like on a camping trip, this box also comes with me. We have a lot of cool content coming up, guys. I'm gonna be filming behind the scenes with a bunch of your favorite kayak fishing companies and fishing companies in the industry. We have some cool interviews releasing, some more how-to videos coming out, just a lot of kayak fishing and fishing content in general. If you guys have a suggestion on what you'd like to see on this channel, I don't only do this because I enjoy this creative process and I've always loved making videos and fishing, but I also do this for your entertainment. Please subscribe, like this video. It really does help go a long way. I know a lot of YouTubers, they kind of say that real quick, like, subscribe, ring the bell, smash the button. in, all this type of stuff, share it in your feed. But you know, I don't want to be that crazy with you guys. Your subscription really means a lot to me personally. Your comments, I try and respond to them directly. That's me. I try to have real conversations on the channel or wherever you're watching this. But your subscription really does make a difference in the things I do and helps this channel continue to grow so I can produce content for your entertainment and also for mine. So guys, I will catch you on the next video.